Kind of dark in here. Eh? What do you think of that? Pretty cool, huh? Randy Joe here, and this is 1001 Albums to Listen to Before You Die. Today I am reviewing the 1990 Cocteau Twins album, Heaven or Las Vegas. If we look at the book, it says it's the very first one of 1990. We're going to the 90s here. It's the first one of the 90s. Cocteau Twins, Heaven or Las Vegas, 1990. Did you get that? Produced under the label 4AD by the Cocteau Twins themselves, art direction by Paul West, nationality UK, with a running time of 36 minutes and 36 seconds. Double 36, ladies and gentlemen. Double 36. It reads, while they never made much of a dent on the charts, the Cocteau Twins have always had a passionate and devoted following. There is real magic in the combination of Robin Guthrie's chiming guitar, Simon Raymond's ominous pulsing bass, and Elizabeth Fraser's mesmerizing vocals. With their impenetrable lyrics and intense privacy, the band quickly developed an aura of mystique. The Twins were largely responsible for defining the 4AD aesthetic in the late 1980s. They have proven hugely influential over the years and have been name-checked by artists as diverse as Prince, Madonna, and My Bloody Valentine. For those unfamiliar with the Cocteau Twins, there is no better introduction than Heaven or Las Vegas. This was the strongest and most cohesive set of songs the Twins had released since 1984's Treasure. Gone was the trademark ghostly muted album artwork. Instead, the cover features a colorful swash of Vegas neon swirling against a deep blue and red sky. Similarly, the sound of Heaven is warmer and more inviting. The melodies are catchy, the production is superb, and gasp, you can actually make out some of the lyrics. Emphasize on some. Songs like Ice Blank Luck and Heaven or Las Vegas are blissfully perfect Cocteau pop gems. Fots Politic starts quietly, then explodes into a stunning vocal performance. Liz's angelic high notes quiver and lilt precariously above the lumbering beat. Road, River, and Rail is mysterious and soulful. Album closer, Frou-frou Foxes in Midsummer Fires starts as an elegiac mood piece, then erupts into a rhythmic, sing-song finale. Written by R.M. R.M. being... Give me a second, this one's hard to find. It's like an I Spy book. R.M. being Rob Morton, reviews popular music for the New York Sun. He has also directed numerous short films and written 3 feature-length screenplays. Good on him. First thing to note here is that this is a dream pop record, which becomes very apparent in the first song, Cherry Colored Funk. This is a very great introduction of what's to come on this album, as it is very dreamlike and softly mixed together. The mixing on this thing blends the instrumentals and Fraser's vocals so well that she herself sounds like an instrument, just like dream pop / shoegaze is meant to be. Fraser sings nearly unintelligible words. You can make out some, but when you can make them out, they're very vague and very cryptic, which kind of add to the dream aspect. This song is very groovy. It is one of the more rhythmic songs. Then we get to the song Pitch the Baby, which again is mixed so beautifully and so well that the entire tone feels like it is another dream world, it is another dreamscape. You feel like you are just on the outside of reality in this one. It is on the cusp of being real while at the same time feeling very much like a dream, if that makes sense. If you do dig into the lyrics here, for the ones that you can make out, there are many hints and subtle references to Elizabeth Fraser's daughter on this one. It carries out throughout the album, and you'll hear many references coming forward of Fraser's daughter, who she had with band member Robert Guthrie. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is a very pillowy song, and it is quite gentle and nice on the ears. Ice Blank Luck is very much, again, like the first 2 songs, referencing her daughter more so in this one. She uses the theme of her daughter saving her as an optimistic hope and for a almost way of an escape, sort of like a dream. This is a very warm song, and it is very textured beautifully, taking you further into this album's soundscape. The next song, 50/50 Clown, sounds much darker right off the bat. It has a darker tone and a darker vibe going for it, but it is still very dreamlike. It is still very pretty and very textured. It's a bit more gloomy, but still very atmospheric. One thing I like about this song is that Frasier's voice at the 2-minute mark can be heard in the background, panning from left to right of the ear. So if you listen to this thing with headphones, you can really hear her voice bouncing back and forth in your head in the background. Hey buddy, season time. This aspect also reinforces this dream world once more. It is very reinforced, it is very hammered in. The next song, Heaven or Las Vegas, is very perfectly titled, as heaven is a incredible word to describe this song. Frasier's vocals once more melt into the instrumentation on this, and this time it sounds rather like she is ascending. Her voice isn't remaining the same, it is kind of building up the track and bringing the band higher to another level. It sounds angelic and beautiful. The chorus on this is especially beautiful because each band member blends so beautifully and so perfectly that when they mesh, it sounds otherworldly. I Wear Your Ring is probably my least favorite track on this album, as it starts to feel a bit too samey. It feels too similar to the other songs on here and doesn't do anything unique or original to really stand out from the rest. It does reinforce more of the dream themes, but doesn't exactly bring anything new to the table. The only positive thing I can say about this one is that in the last minute or so, Frasier's voice does continue to ascend. It does continue to build up this album. There is a breaking point coming. It is definitely building up from the beginning of this album, and it is building up even more here. It is on its way, and trust me, it does eventually hit. More on that later. The 7th song, Fotsapolitik, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, really comes in strong. It hits you with a dollop of sound that is very soft and gentle, but does come in very strong with its soft and gentle tones. It hits all at once. Interestingly enough, the title, Fotsapolitik, means cunt politics. Can I say cunt on YouTube? I was saying cunt in this video. But cunt politics is the name of this track, technically, if translated, which really goes to the themes of this one, because if you look into the lyrics, then you will find out that she is talking about the politics of a woman and what a woman should be allowed to do. It is very much saying that women have rights to do what they want with their, and they can be who they want to be sexually. They should not be tied down or be tethered just because society deems them to be so. However, it is very vague, and one could argue that maybe the lyrics aren't going towards this, but I think the title and the lyrics, in my opinion, do suggest that. It is very a pro-feminist song, focusing entirely on the rights of what a woman is allowed to do and what should be allowed to do, which is going against what society is telling them they should be allowed to do, especially at the time of this release. The next song, Wolf in the Breast, further uses references to Guthrie's and Frasier's daughter on this song, where she sings on the chorus, laughing on our bed, pretending us newlywed, especially when our angel unleashed that head. It is very poetic and very strong in its lyrics, and her voice really carries the poetic sounds through to you. It is a very pretty track. It is not as heavy as some of the others. It is more hitting you with these underlying themes and beauty of Frasier and Guthrie's newborn daughter. They're, I guess, in this song kind of hoping that with the birth of her, it will bring them closer together and make things improve. She sees her daughter as a new hope and a source of optimism for their relationship and just for her life in general. It gives her a lot of strength to keep going forward. The 9th song, Road, River, and Rail, the song's sound is very lateral. Throughout the entire track, there is a sound that is going back and forth very laterally. It also has a very soft percussion in the background that remains throughout. It is very soft and almost completely washed out by the instrumentation on here, but is done so intentionally. The soft percussion is there and builds to the track, but it is very subtle. You can hear Frasier's voice being sampled and used just underneath the main vocals. It is like it is just underneath the surface of her main vocals, but it is still there and it's still very strong in adding to the track. This song in particular is very vast with its sounds and very wide in its array of uses of these sounds. It is a very good blend and it is mixed beautifully. The production specifically on this one and the rest of the album is very strong and very smooth. And finally, we get to the last song, which is the best song on here. And it's not to say that other songs on here aren't good, it's just that this one really does let that continuously growing and building breaking point I was talking about kind of break through. It kind of hits hard, in my opinion, and this is where the band is at their peak and at their strongest, which is with the song Frou-frou in Midsummer Fires. For the first time on this record, Frasier is singing very hushed. She is singing much quieter on this one. It's as if she is just leering into the band as they play much louder than she sings, with a very gentle tapping percussion and a soft piano playing just over her voice. It is very slow and delicate and melodic, which serves to the benefit because at 1 minute and 48 seconds, Elizabeth Fraser's vocals burst into the track. They explode over the sounds here. She completely overwhelms the instrumentation. She overthrows them and steals the show. She takes center stage, and not only is her main vocal very strong here, but her vocals are also sampled and used in the background of the track. There are separate vocals being used to reinforce her. She sounds like her own backup angel on this song. The percussion also builds up in this part too, building up louder and louder. Then we get to the 2 minute and 48 seconds where her voice falls back once more. She disappears into the background of the track and she gets just as hushed as she was at the beginning. This time, however, the drumming and the waning guitar that were playing while she sung have continued to play louder. They are now also overthrowing her, and it is almost like a battle in a sense, where they are carrying on the song at a much louder tone than they were previously. She sings very cryptically and vaguely in the background. But then we get to the last leg of the track where she comes back in again, and this time instead of overwhelming the instrumentation, she mixes into it. They are no longer battling, they are coming together. Her voice and the band's instrumentation mix so well and so beautifully here that instead of hitting one another and clashing constantly and trying to overcome the other, they are mixing as one unified sound. It is extremely atmospheric and very bold. The angelic tones here carry this otherworldly tone of the album up furthermore. Frasier, rather than taking front row, is now riding the instrumentation, and they are soaring through this dreamlike landscape together. This is the longest song on the album, and it feels like it, not in a bad way, but in a way that it feels very grand and very epic. I love this song, and I highly recommend anybody listen to it, especially when listening to this album. It hits at the end hard. That just about does it for the tracks. So overall, this album, Heaven or Las Vegas, is a very prime example of dream pop / shoegaze done flawlessly and smoothly. It's executed in a very bold and vast way, kind of making this epic scale album and bringing it to the ears. It ambitiously takes all sounds of a dreamlike spectrum and bringing the listener into their own world and soundscapes. Frasier's vocals sing very unintelligibly, but that is very intentional. She sings these unintelligible vocals that are very cryptic and vague lyrics, which further bring on this dream aspect. It is almost something like you need to pick apart and try to pick apart its meaning and understand what is being said here, just like you would a dream. On this album, she is not a singer, she is an instrument with the band. The percussion on this album plays a very vital role throughout, as it is either very subtle and subdued in the background, or it is brought to the front and used to a great effect. Each band member plays a very vital role on this album. They all bring something together and mesh together, sort of like an interlocking puzzle. If you were to take one out, there would be a very obvious feeling of something missing, but when added all together and locked together, They come as one strong unit. The themes of Fraser and Guthrie's daughter that carry throughout this album also further build on the innocent and dreamlike soundscape that plays a vital role in building on this album. This album is the absolute peak of dream pop / shoegaze. There is no better album that executes the idea better than this one here. It is forever used as a source of inspiration for artists to come from that point forward. All artists will forever look at this album as something that they want to replicate and aim to be. Because of this album's incredible impact on the genre and its flawless execution of dream pop, I feel it is only fair to rate this album extremely high. I was originally going to go with like an 8 or a 9 based purely on the sounds. The more I thought about its impact on dream pop, shoegaze, and the music industry in general, I thought it would only be fair to give it the highest esteem. I do believe that this album is the idea of a masterpiece, taking a genre and perfecting it to the absolute degree that it can. Because of that, I think it is 100% fair to give this album a 10 out of 10. The biggest honor I can possibly give it, for it deserves it. It is a strong, dominant 10. And of course, because of this, I'm also giving this album a big fat E. A huge throbbing E for essential. I highly recommend you listen to this one. It is necessary. The next album that we are going to listen to is number 263 of the 1001 Albums to Review to Before You Die, which is funny enough, Paul Simon's self-titled album. Paul Simon. We're going right back to the roots already. So you have 1 week to listen to Paul Simon's self-titled album, Paul Simon. If you like this video, please hit like and hit subscribe if you want to subscribe to the channel. But also, if you have any disagreements with this album or agreements with this album, please leave it in the comments section below and say what you think. I would love to hear your thoughts. That pretty much does it for this video, and thanks for watching. See you in the next one.